Welcome to the Mifratech. In previous sessions, we have discussed the basics of the JavaScript. Today, we are going to the continuation. In this session, let's see. Welcome to the session 3 of JavaScript. Document Object Model, DOM. The document object represents the whole HTML document. When HTML document is loaded in the browser, it becomes a document object. It is the root element that represents the HTML document. It has properties and methods. By the help of document object, we can add dynamic content to our web page. How the properties of document object? There are several properties. When we get to the document, there are anchor tag, form tag, link tag, and with subdivision of the form tag, text, text area, checkbox, radio, select, reset, and a button. In a select, we can select an option. You have seen in an HTML how the properties, the form properties, text area, and you have seen the examples. Methods of document object. We can access and change the contents of documents by its methods. The important methods of the document objects are follows. When we are writing in a document object model, some of the document object model has to be preferred. So here, how to write methods. The write double quotes string writes the given string on the document. Write in double quotes the string writes the given string on the document with a new line character at the end. Get element by ID returns the element having the given ID value. Get elements by name, it returns the name. Get elements by tag name, it returns the element having with the tag name. By class name, it returns the class name. Then accessing field value by document object. Accessing field value by document object. In this example, we are going to get the value input text by user using a document.form1.name.value to get the value of name field. The form1 is the name of the form, name the attribute of the name, input text, value, it is the property that returns the value of input text. Here you can see the example which prints name with welcome message. Script type text, it is a JavaScript function. The print value variable name is equals to document.form1.name.value. Alert welcome, the welcome message has been displayed here. Then we are closing the script and then we are creating a form element. Form name form1 represent as form1. Enter a name, input type, it is a text, name, input type button. On click print value, it displays the print, where when we have entered the name, then the name has been shown as output when we click on a button. And a close form. This is the example of accessing a field value by document object by creating an object called variable name document.form with the form content. Next, document.getElementById, it returns the ID, returns of a ID. The document.getElementById method returns the element of specified ID. In previous page, we have used a document.form1.name.value to get the value of the input value. We can use document.getElementById method to get a value of the input text, but we need to define an ID for the input field. For example, we are taking a cube of a number the function getCube, where name document.getElementById, the number dot value, alert number asterisk number multiplied by number. Then we are creating in a form, entering in a number, input text id is equals to number, name number, input type button. When we have entered in a number, it displays the cube of a number. Next, document.getElementsByName. Document.getElementsByName methods returns all the element of the specified name. The syntax document.getElementsByName, name. The example, we are getting a total elements which are in the name, the function total elements, where all genders is equals to document.getElementsByName, it's a gender, alert total genders plus genders dot length, length of total elements length. Then we are creating in a form, getting a radio button for male and a female. When we have click, there are it will display the how many elements in the male and female. Then document.getElementsByTagName, it specifies the method returns all the elements specified tag name. The syntax is document.getElementsByTagName, name. Example, the count, the length of a paragraph, how much the word, how much the length is there. The function count para, variable declared as a total para, is equals to document.getElementsByTagName p. We have given a tag name p. Then alert, the message, total p tags are plus total para dot length. It will be counted the document length. This is a paragraph, and we are writing in a paragraph as here. We are going to count total number of paragraphs by get element by tag name method. Let's see the simple example. Button on click, when we click the button, it will be displayed how many characters are there in the document or in a paragraph. Next, JavaScript innerHTML. The innerHTML property can be used to write the dynamic HTML on the HTML document. It is mostly used in the web pages to generate the dynamic HTML such as registration form, comment form, links, and many more. Example of innerHTML property. Function show comment form. Here we are creating a comment form. Script text JavaScript function show comment form. Variable creating as in a data, name, input type text, name is equals to name. We are breaking and given as a comment. Rows, we are creating in a rows of the text area. The text area must be contained with the 5 rows and the 80 columns. Then break, input type, submit value, post comment, document.getElementById, my location, inner HTML is equals to data. We are closing in a script and we are creating in a form called form name as my form. Input type, button, value, comment, on click show comment form. When you have clicked on a submit button, or when you are clicked on a button or comment, it will show as my location. You can execute this code and tested with it. Then JavaScript form validation. It is important to validate the form submitted by the user because it can have inappropriate values, so validation is must to authenticate user. JavaScript provides a facility to validate the form on the client side, so data processing will be faster than server side validation. Most of the web developers prefer JavaScript form validation. through JavaScript we can validate name, password, email, date, mobile numbers and more fields. Let us see an example. Function validate form, the calling in a function. The name and the password, we are validating in a name and a password. The name null, alert name can't be blank, return false, and password length must be less than 6 characters, not more than 6 characters, and password must be at least 6 characters long. Return false. If these are not happening, it will be shown as an invalid. Next, we are creating a form. Here in script, we are giving in a form validation. The name can't be blank. When we are don't entering in a name, it will not be taken. And the password also less than 6 characters. Then we are creating in a form with the name and the password. JavaScript classes. In JavaScript, classes are the special type of a function. We can define the class just like in a function declaration and function expressions. The JavaScript class contains various class members within a body, including methods or constructors. The class is executed in a strict mode, so the code containing the silent error or mistake throws an error. The class syntax contains two components. One is a class declaration, another one is a class expression. When we are creating in a class, it is a special type of a functions, just like in a function declaration, where the function declaration must be in a function and the function name. When it has been an error, it throws an error. It is a single error. It is a strict code, strict mode. There are two types of components called class declaration and the class expression. We can see one by one. First, we are going to see a class declaration. A class can be defined by using a class declaration. A class keyword is used to declare a class with any particular name. According to a JavaScript naming conversation, the name of the class always starts with an uppercase letter. The class name starts with an uppercase letter. The example, declaring a class name, then initializing an object. Here the comments has been used. Then a constructor has been created. The constructor id, name. This dot id is equals to id, and the id has been taken. The constructor method has been declared. Then detail document dot write in this dot id. The name, the id has been displayed. The variable name, the passing an object to a variable. The employee E1 is equals to 101 Martin Roy, and variable E2 is equals to new employee 102 Duke William. E1 dot detail, E2 dot detail. It has a calling method where we have taken in a variable name. The function has not been called. Here we are calling in a function with the E1 dot detail and E2 dot detail. You can execute the code, you can work out this code and mention the output in the comment box. Then class expressions. Here another way to define a class is by using a class expressions. Here it is not mandatory to assign the name of the class. So the class expression can be named or unnamed. We can declare or we cannot. The class expression allows us to fetch the class name. However, this will not possible with the class declaration. Class declaration, we use the class and the class name. Here it can be named or unnamed. Unnamed class expression. Here no class has been declared, where variable emp is equals to class, creating a constructor id name, and then document write in emp dot name. Then JavaScript constructor method. A JavaScript constructor method is a special type of a method which is used to initialize and create an object. It is called when memory is allocated for an object. In a constructor, it is a special type of a method which is used to initialize and create an object. You can see previous slides, we have created an object. Then where called memory is allocated for object. Points to remember, some of the few points to when you are creating a constructor method. The constructor keyword is used to declare a constructor method. The class can contain one constructor method only. JavaScript allows us to use parent class constructor through a super keyword. Then let's see an example of constructor method. Class name. The constructor has been created by this .id 101 and name Martin Roy, where next variable has been creating var emp is equals to new employee, document.write in emp id plus emp name, where when the output has been displayed 101 plus the Martin Roy, the name, the id and the name will be displayed. JavaScript static method. The JavaScript provides static methods that belong to the class instead of an instance of that class. So an instance is not required to call the static method. These methods called directly on class itself. In JavaScript static, we are calling in a static method in the class itself. We can see an example in a script class test. The static display return static method is invoked. Document.write in where test.display, the display function has been called here, the similar output has been returned as static method is invoked. When you are creating a static method, here are some points to remember. The static keyword is used to declare a static method. The static method can be of any name. A class can contain more than one static method. If we declare a more than one static method with a similar name, the JavaScript always invokes the last one. When we are creating the first one, it will not be invoked. When we are creating with the same name, when we created at the last and the first, the last one is been invoked. The static method can be used to create a utility functions. We can use this keyword to call a static method within the another static method. That this keyword we have seen in a previous sessions about this keyword. You can refer there. We can't use this keyword directly to call a static method within the non-static method. In such a case, we can call the static method either using the class name or as the property of the constructor. The next, JavaScript encapsulation. The JavaScript encapsulation is a process of binding data. The encapsulation refers to a binding data with the functions acting on that data. It allows us to control the data and validate it. To achieve an encapsulation in JavaScript, use variable keyword to make a data members private. Use setter methods to set the data and methods to get the data. Setter methods to set the data and the getter methods to get the data. The encapsulation allows us to handle the objects of some of the properties are read, write, read only and write only. Read and write, we use the setter methods to write the data and getter methods to read the data. Read only, we use getter methods only, and write, we use setter methods only. Read, the setter methods. When write, getter methods. When read only, it has been the getter methods, and write only, setter methods. Then you can see an encapsulation example here. The class has been created, the class name student, and constructor was been taken where name, where marks, and getter method has been write, where get name is equals to returned on this name, and the set name is equal to this name is equals to name. Get marks, the name and the marks has been written and read, where student is equals to new student, stud stud dot set name John and set marks 80. When we are displaying the output, the marks and the name will be displayed. JavaScript inheritance. The JavaScript inheritance is a mechanism that allows to create new classes on the basis of already existing classes. The creation of a class within a new class is called an inheritance. It provides flexibility to the child class to reuse the methods and variables of the parent class. The JavaScript extends keyword is used to create a child class on the basis of parent class. It facilitates the child class to acquire all the properties and behavior in the parent class. The simple way, the child class has been created inside the parent class. When child class can acquire all the properties and behavior of its parent class. Let's see an example here. The similar to an Java extends example inbuilt object, inbuilt function within the inheritance script class movement extends date constructor super variable m is equals to new movement document dot write in current date, where here the class has been created movement and extends date. The child has been created as a date. It will be displayed date, get month and get full year. The output has been displayed as a date, month and year. Points to remember, it's an ISA relationship. The extend keyword is used in a class expression or class declarations. Using a extends keyword, we can acquire all the properties and behavior of inbuilt object as well as custom classes. We can also use a prototype based approach to achieve inheritance. Next, JavaScript polymorphism. The polymorphism is a core concept of an object-oriented paradigm or programming that provides a way to perform in a single action in different forms. It provides an ability to call the same method or a different JavaScript object. As JavaScript is not a type-safe language, we can pass any type of data members with the methods. Here you can see an example, class A, the extends here the class A has been called and a display document.writeIn, A is invoked, then class B, the extended A, the variable B is equals to new B, the B dot display, where the A function has been called and it has been invoked by A. Next, JavaScript abstraction. An abstraction is a way of hiding the implementation details and showing only the functionality to the users. In other words, it ignores the irrelevant details, shows only the required one. Some of the points to remember: we can't create an instance of abstract class. It reduces the duplication of code. And thank you for watching this video. We are coming with the next session to see more about the JavaScript, and thank you for watching this video.